Well, it is time for AT&T Telecom today here on KJFF. I am Matt Baer, being joined in studio once again by Katie Nagus of AT&T, and also a very special guest today. Katie, I will let you introduce her today.
Sure. We've got Amy VanDeVelde of the Oasis Institute here, and she's really involved with everything Oasis that involves making sure that older people are successful in aging.
Yeah, thanks, Matt and Katie, for inviting me to join you today. And, Matt, do you know about the Oasis Institute?
I would say I do not. I have not heard of it. Explain a little bit exactly of what it is that you guys do.
Yeah, we've been around in St. Louis for over 30 years, and we help people to age the way they want to age. And, of course, for everybody's, their definition is different, but they want to be successful. And so there's three elements to that. Our founder figured this out before there was any science to back it up, and that is to stay healthy and to keep your brain engaged and also to stay connected with people. And, of course, for all of us talking about technology, we think about connections on LinkedIn. We think about Facebook friends, but older adults don't necessarily think of it that way, but we want them to stay engaged with community, and that can mean family, that can also mean friends. So that's the core of the Oasis Institute. Many people think Oasis is only the Oasis tutoring program, and that is a program that has been in place for 25 years, and so many school districts in the St. Louis area have had the Oasis Intergenerational Tutoring Program, over 2,500 tutors, which is great. But the newest national program that Oasis offers is Connections, and that is the national program for keeping your brain engaged. What better way to keep your brain engaged than to keep up with technology? So
yeah. It's always changing, right? Like we were just saying.
and that's hard for people to keep up with in general.
No matter what
especially
age.
For older people to keep up with, that would be extremely difficult.
Correct. And so I've been running the program for about 2.5 years, and I think the big change that I've seen in 2.5 years is that more people, we're all trying to keep up, not just older adults. And so what we have is a whole spectrum of people, some of whom have never touched certain technologies, like the technologies that Katie was showing you. Many of our people would say, that's not necessary, I don't need that, and it's not really relevant to them until they see a way to make it relevant. But they may have an old desktop computer at home, and so Connections started as a way to help bridge the digital divide and help those older adults gain technology skills and use the computer. Well, the digital divide is going to be ongoing because everything is changing with mobile technology. It's changing quickly, and how do people keep up? And so Oasis Connections is one way, and since we're here in St. Louis, it's fortunate because we offer classes around the community. In fact, Connections partners with Jefferson County Library, and so your own library right here offers free computer classes from the Oasis Connections program. Now, don't inundate them right now because they're really busy with all those kiddos doing summer reading, and they slow down a little bit in the summer. But they offer free technology training classes, our Oasis curriculum, that's meant to be easy for people to digest. And why does it need to be easy for people to digest? The reason is that they're learning a new language, and that's technology. It's not that they can't read long words. It's that we make the language really simple and use lots of pictures so they can focus on learning that technology. That's what...
So when it comes to computer technology, give me some examples, like Microsoft Word?
Sure. Introduction to computers and Meet the Computer are the very basic. If you've never touched a computer, you want to go to those classes. And Introduction to the Internet, the same. But a lot of people have touched technology in their work life. They know a little bit about the Internet, but they may not be comfortable going on eBay. Our demographic, of course, would like to sell their stuff, right? They don't want to buy stuff necessarily. They might want to get rid of stuff. So eBay's one course. Facebook has become extremely popular with older adults in the last few years, but they use it differently than someone our age. Katie and I are probably closer in age, maybe. Matt, you're a little bit younger. So each demographic uses it different. So one thing that just happened 2 weeks ago when our AT&T techs came in to provide something that we've been doing for many years, which we used to call cell phone classes. But since 2008, AT&T techs have been coming out from the store to our Oasis centers around the country and offering one-on-one coaching help. And this all started with flip phones. And AT&T didn't think of it. Actually, our Oasis people said, can't you help me with this phone? And we were kind of stumped. We didn't know how to help them with their phone. We weren't qualified. So we asked our friends at AT&T to actually come in and do that. We've been doing it since 2008, and the most recent one was June 2nd. And what the techs who came out from the store said was that people are now using their phones and tablets in a much more robust way than they used to. So one of the main questions they got was, how do I send a private Facebook message with a picture? And so why would they want to do that? Do you have a guess why they would want to send a private Facebook message with a picture?
I have no idea.
Okay, because in their generation, they don't want to publish their pictures for all the world to see. They would rather keep those pictures just to, if I want to send it to Katie and she's my friend, I only want Katie to see that picture. I don't necessarily want to put it up publicly, because privacy is a big concern for people over 50, typically. So that was one of the kind of really interesting things about the last Get Smart coaching event that we did.
Wow, and you know, and it's things like that though, and you know, it's you think about it, and you know, being a 22-year-old that just doesn't think, I grew up with technology. You don't think twice about it, and you think about that. That's something that I wouldn't think of. And teaching somebody, even if I were out there and I'm like, I'm teaching my grandparents how to use a device, I wouldn't think about them wanting to be do that or anything like that. It's things that people don't think of that need to be taught, for these people who want to learn those things.
Yeah, and they're very eager to learn. It's not that they don't want to learn. And you just mentioned, Katie mentioned that you grew up with technology, and they used to call that being a digital native. But there's kind of a new terminology for it, and that would be that you're a digital resident. You live in the digital world. You post where you are. You probably post your location. That's your world that you inhabit. The people that we serve are usually digital visitors. They don't want to broadcast to everyone where they are, and so they visit and log in and do what their business, whatever it is that they want to do, and then they log back out and they go back to their regular life. Although we are seeing a shift in that. They're doing more and more activities. So it's interesting to think about it from that perspective, that they just bring a different worldview when they come in. It's not that they don't want to learn, but they may not know the terminology, and they may be hesitant to identify that they don't know the terminology.
And that is awesome. And you guys are a pretty big company. You said you've been in Missouri for over 30 years. You've been around for over 30 years in St. Louis. You guys are not only in St. Louis, but you guys are really kind of all across the nation.
We are. And the way that we're throughout the nation is we have a series of Oasis centers that exist in different cities throughout the country. But also we partner with community organizations like the Jefferson County Public Library. And so for Oasis, we have 55 cities across 26 states. And actually, I'm not sure that number might have just gone up to 27. I just brought on a partner in South Carolina. And so we can make the program run on the ground because we have the handbooks, which is what we really want people to leave with. They want to get the instruction from a patient person who understands where they're coming from with technology, and also leave with a handbook that when they go back home and say, now what did Matt show me how to do, they've got a guide that shows them.
That is awesome, man. And whenever you have someone teach, do you usually have someone that's closer to their age teaching the courses, or is it somebody younger still teaching the courses? How does that work as far as, just overall? Because, I would go in and I'd say, do I want someone my age who knows what they're doing, or do I want a younger person to teach me? What's the overall usual, or is it a wide variety of ages that teach?
Well, actually, for Connections, it's pretty unique. Before Connections started, we had a program where we brought kids in to help older adults with technology, and it was good except for one thing. Kids don't have transportation, so it's all reliant on some adult to make sure they get to the place and help the older person. So that it's not a bad model, but it's helpful for us to use adults. And people who are seeking technology training really like to get it from someone who's closer to their own age. So with Connections, almost all of my instructors that I have in the St. Louis area are over 50. Now, at partner sites like libraries, librarians will teach the classes. And so I haven't done a dive into what the age group is, but what I do is an instructional webinar to teach them best practices for working with people with technology. So anyone, any age, can be an instructor.
And that is really, really awesome. And sitting here and thinking about what you guys offer here, it's really, really great. Do you guys ever? Is there a charge to these classes? How do these classes work? How do people get involved with a class like this?
Well, if they go to an Oasis Center, there is a small fee, and we have an Oasis Center in Clayton. But if they're going to the public libraries, the libraries don't, they always give things away for free. They're great at that. So those classes are offered for free. And we also have piloted 2 new initiatives this year that are going to be completely free to the public. And one of them is here in St. Louis only. It's called Ask a Techie, and it's walk-in help for technology. And there's a location that's a little bit up the road from all of us here. It's at Crestview Senior Living at 8660 Grant Road on Wednesday mornings from 10 to noon. So if you're having a problem with a device or a laptop, or there's desktop computers there as well, we have a group of people who'll be there to answer questions. And then the second thing is we have a new course coming out called Mobile Accessibility, Tips and Tricks for your smartphone and tablet. And this is for making phones easier to read and also easier to hear, or to help you with your hearing, like pairing your hearing aids to a device so that you can hear better. And so we're very excited with our partnership with AT&T. And in fact, Connections wouldn't be around if it weren't for the AT&T Foundation, who has funded us for over 10 years. So Katie, we're very grateful for that support. And so it's been AT&T all these years that have been helping people keep their computer skills up long before we were envisioning smartphones, tablets, and watches that people could use.
And talk about this as well. I know, Katie, I'll have you mention, you guys have been partners with them for quite a while, correct?
Yes, that's right. Like Amy mentioned, for over 10 years, and we probably donated upwards of $5 million to Oasis to, develop and continue these connections and these tech training classes. Like she talked about, a lot of the Get Smart classes for mobile devices actually use store employees at Oasis Center location. So our employees can work with any device. It doesn't have to be an AT&T device, just any phone that someone brings in. They're trained and can answer questions about how to do very simple things like change the font size to make it more accessible so that you can read the text easier on your phone, but even complicated things like pairing it, with a smartwatch.
That is awesome. And as well, with a program like this, with communications, with Oasis, once again, we're speaking with Amy VanDeVelde with the Oasis Institute, as well as Katie Nagus of AT&T. And this is something that can really continue to evolve with our evolving technology. Because this is something, where you think about it, you're like, okay, well, eventually, it's going to be where, this new generation who has grown up with phones and smartphones and smart devices is going to be older, but at the same time, there's going to be technology that they may not keep up with. I may not be able to keep up with all the technology that's going to happen 50 years from now, and they're still going to, I may one day say, I could really use help learning this brand new technology that could completely revolutionize. You never know what's going to come out.
I mean,
this is something that can just continue to evolve for you guys.
The iPhone came out when? 2007, 2008? I mean, it has not been that long since that device kind of changed our lives in a lot of ways. So
I remember the
things
flip
can
phones.
happen quickly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, and we still help people with flip phones. We had a couple people come in with a flip phone, and that's fine. The AT&T techs are totally happy to help those people. Any carrier, that's been the great thing about the Get Smart events. They've been very valuable. But as far as keeping up, it all is about relevance, whether it's relevant to your personal life or your work life. So staying in touch with what we do, just Google Oasis Connections. That's the easiest way to find us. There'll be a left-hand menu where we have free tip sheets that you can look up. And this new accessibility workbook will be freely downloadable to anybody. So, Matt, do you have anybody in your life that asks you for help with technology?
All the time.
Okay. So you could tell them to download this book, or you could get the book and give it to them and share it with them to help them see their fonts at a bigger size and hear better with their phones.
And that's probably better. I would think some older adults probably don't want to necessarily ask their younger family members for help, do they?
Well, they do. And sometimes it becomes very frustrating for the younger person because they don't have, what do I tell them? And something you just know, how do you communicate that? So the handbook is so essential because, remember we went over this, and then the person that's getting help can also take their own notes that it makes sense to them.
It would be like trying to teach someone who is from a different country English and trying to find where to start.
Right.
That's correct.
I mean, it really is.
And it's so
somebody
different.
who's never heard it before, things like that.
It's so different for every person because we had one woman come in on June 2nd. She wanted to learn Twitter to follow the Cardinals. And the texts all said to me, we had someone want to learn Twitter today. We've never had that happen. So it's all about relevance. And so that's really the exciting work that we're doing. And just to keep up to speed, we're trying as hard as we can to keep fresh content out there and keep up with what our people want to learn about.
That is really, really great. And once again, if people want to find out more about Oasis, about the Oasis Institute. You said you guys are kind of linked with AT&T, correct? So people can find out multiple different ways.
That's right. AT&T has some websites. I think your Senior Hub refers them to the free tip sheets page. So if you use the internet, I would suggest AT&T Senior Hub. I would suggest Googling Oasis Connections because it's a whole lot easier than searching another way. And then if you don't use a computer but you want to learn about Oasis, go to your public library, and all around the St. Louis area, our catalogs are always in the free information stand so they can see what we got going on.
Including the Jefferson County Public Libraries?
Including the Jefferson County Public Libraries, and it will have an ad for Ask a Techie so that they can figure out when to go to Ask a Techie.
That is really, really great. And Katie, were there any other questions that I missed that maybe you thought of that you'd like to ask her as well?
No, I think we covered a lot of it. I mean, it's a great resource that we have here in St. Louis to have the Oasis Institute.
Yeah, it really, really is great. And, this is something that before we talked today, I didn't realize it was available. So, and I think this will really help with our listeners as well. If we have any listeners out there, things like that, we'll make sure and, try to make sure, let people know if anybody, missed anything from today's show. We'll definitely, we can definitely let you know about it here, whatever. Just, we'll pass you right along to where you need to be. So that is absolutely great. And oasisnet.org, correct?
Oasisnet.org is our main webpage, and that tells about all the great things we do. But another thing I did this morning was I liked the radio station.
Hey!
So by liking the radio station, you can see my connections feed. So when that accessibility class goes live, you can push that out to your users, and they will know how to download that new free course.
That is really, really awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate it as always, and it was great meeting you as well.
Great meeting you, and thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. And Katie, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks,
and bringing in all these awesome interviews and items and things like that.